The Hells Angels, a name synonymous with danger, rebellion, and a dark mystique that has intrigued and terrified people for decades. While many admire their brotherhood and sense of belonging, others fear the crimes and violence that have often been associated with this infamous motorcycle club. But what has led some of the most dangerous Hells Angels members to find themselves behind bars? Are there hidden secrets within the club that the public is unaware of? And perhaps the most pressing question of all, how do they continue to thrive despite the relentless pursuit of law enforcement? The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club is pretty famous, but not for good reasons. It started in the United States in the middle of the 20th century and quickly spread around the world. These guys love riding their motorcycles and being free on the open road, but they're known for doing some pretty bad stuff. We're talking about serious crimes like selling drugs, organized crime, and even violent actions. Some of their members have ended up in big trouble with the law, and that's what this video is all about. We're going to focus on 5 such Hells Angels members who got caught up in some serious legal issues. We're going to dig into their lives, see how they're connected to the Hells Angels, and figure out what led them to end up in jail. 1. Rusty Coons. Rusty Coons, a big and well-known guy in the Hells Angels, has been a part of the club for a long time. He's been all about motorcycles since he was young, and that love eventually led him to the Hells Angels. With his tall stature, strong build, and those iconic Hells Angels tattoos, he really stood out. But he did more than just ride. He was even a leader in the club, being the president of different chapters. However, he got into some serious trouble. Trouble found him several times due to his involvement in drug trafficking and illegal guns. In 1999, he got busted for trying to distribute meth, landing him a 6-year jail term. Then, in 2011, he faced more trouble for illegal firearms possession linked to a controversial operation. Despite his claims of being set up, he's still in prison today, showing the dark side of the Hells Angels lifestyle. 2. Randy Yeager. Next, Randy Yeager, often called Mad, was a big deal in the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. He was born in 1956. He had a fiery personality and was known for never backing down. Mad was all about the outlaw biker life and rose to become the Midwest president of the Hells Angels. But here's where it gets intense. He got in trouble with the law. In 1997, he was charged with some really serious stuff like drug trafficking, racketeering, and violent acts. Instead of facing it, he disappeared for 17 years, making him one of America's longest-running fugitives. They finally caught him in Mexico in 2014. He was put on trial, found guilty of racketeering and drug trafficking, and is still in prison today. Mad's story shows just how deep the criminal side of the Hells Angels can go, even for top members. 3. James Kaufman. James Kaufman's story is quite unusual in the Hells Angels history. Unlike the tough, rebellious image typically associated with the club, Kaufman was a respected doctor from New Jersey. But he used his medical practice for an illegal drug operation connected to the Hells Angels to distribute drugs and solidify their presence in the criminal underworld. The shocker came in 2012 when his wife was mysteriously murdered. It turned out she might have discovered his illegal stuff and threatened to expose him. Authorities believed he arranged her murder to keep her quiet. In 2017, Kaufman was arrested on a long list of charges, including first-degree murder, racketeering, and leading a narcotics network. There was even a dramatic standoff with the police during his arrest. But before his trial could conclude, he was found dead in his prison cell in 2018, probably by suicide. 4. Raymond Folks. On number 4, we have Raymond Folks, also known as Ray Ray, who was a powerful figure in the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, even becoming the president of the Sonoma County chapter in California. But his journey from a respected club leader to a prison inmate shows how power can corrupt. His criminal activities were not just about violence, they also involved mortgage fraud, which was surprising. He got into major trouble during the Laughlin River Run riot in 2002 when a fight between the Hells Angels and their rivals, the Mongols, led to deaths and injuries. But the most significant legal problems came from mortgage fraud in 2011, which landed him in federal prison. 5. Otis Garrett. Lastly, we have Otis Garrett, who became infamous for his involvement in criminal activities. He was deeply committed to the club's outlaw lifestyle, primarily engaging in drug trafficking and violent conflicts with rival motorcycle clubs. However, in 2014, he became the target of a major police operation in Ventura County. The operation exposed a drug trafficking network run by Garrett and other Hells Angels members. During his arrest, authorities discovered not only large quantities of drugs but also firearms at his home, strengthening their case. Garrett was convicted on multiple charges and sentenced to prison. Now, why do you think some members choose a life of crime, and what do you think can be done to address this issue? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more similar content.